Hi, this is Nanny.
And this is Spinach.
Today we are going to be showing you how to can spinach and other greens. There is an estimation that if you've got a bushel of spinach, you will wind up with 8 or 9 quarts. It's a finished product. But we've already taken our spinach and washed it. Now what we're going to do is I'm going to take the stems off, and if it's a real tender skin, you don't stem, you want to leave it, fine. If you don't, you take the stem off. And Peepaw is going to be, to make it go faster, see if you can get somebody that will help you. Peepaw's going to be doing the chopping. Well, we have tried several things for our chopping. We tried knife, we tried scissors, but what we found out is you've got a pizza cutter, you can take that pizza cutter and run it over the top. Okay, after I got my stem off, Peepaw's going to chop it. And all he's going to do is line it up and send that chopper through about 3 or 4 times. Okay, now we've got the spinach washed and stemmed and chopped up. We're going to blanch it. A lot of your recipes calls for steaming, but I've always blanched, and I'm going to show you how I always do, like I have in all my recipes. I've got a pot of water with probably 3-4 inches of water boiling, and now what we're going to do is dump this spinach in that pot. Remember, it's chopped, so you have to be careful that you don't miss your pot.
Well, this is one time you can get 10 pounds in a 5-pound sack.
Yeah. Okay. There you go. Now what we're going to do, we're going to cover the pot and let it sit in this hot water for about a minute. Okay, our spinach has finished wilting. What we're going to do now is get your hot jar. And remember, I told you there's 2 or 3 ways to keep your jars hot. Hot water or what have you. I keep mine hot in the oven between 200 and 225 degrees. So you're going to take your spinach and loosely put it in your jar. Now most of the recipes calls for boiling water, and what I'm doing is I'm going to use the water left over from the wilting, because every grandmother knows that most of your vitamins and what have you is in that water. So we'll get it up to leave 1 inch headspace, which means it comes up to that first rim on your jar, and then put for a pint 1/4 teaspoon of salt. If you were doing quarts, put 1/2 teaspoon.
That's pickling salt, isn't it?
And you only, yeah, Peepaw, I'm glad you said that, because I've told you in other videos the importance of canning salt. Canning salt will not turn your vegetables and fruits brown in the jar. Now, Peepaw is taking it. He just took all the bubbles out. We call it burp. And then he wipes the jar clean to make sure no food particles or what have you's there. And then he's going to put the lid on, and then add the ring, and hand tight down. Not real tight, just hand tight. And then he's going to put it in our pressure cooker canner. As I told you at the beginning, Spinach has to be pressure cooker canned. Now, for those that's not familiar with the pressure cooker, you have a rack on the bottom that gives a space between the bottom of the jars and the bottom of your pot, so you need that. Another thing is when you start to use your pressure cooker, check your rubber seal here and make sure it's in good place. And before you put your weight on, make sure that your vent hole is clear. Because a lot of times we put our canners up, store them, and then we wind up needing them. Well, and then you get mine, you put the lid on, and then you turn it to a lock position. We've got 10 pounds of weight. As you can tell, my pressure cooker has come up to pressure by the jiggling of the jiggler here. And what I'm going to do is turn it down to where it only jiggles 3 to 4 times a minute. In order to do this, I've got to turn the fire under the pot down. And I want to warn you, do this slowly, because you can, if you go too far down and you have to bring it back up and too far down, you can ruin your canned goods. So I'm going to turn it down a little bit and let it pressure or jiggle for an hour to an hour and 15 minutes. Okay, our 70 minutes of processing is over. Now, Peepaw is going to remove and it's cooled down. It takes about 20-25 minutes for it to cool naturally. Do not rapid cool a pressure cooker with jars inside, because you could make the pressure too fast and it's like coming up out of the water too fast. The food will come out of the jar. But anyway, ours has cooled. Peepaw's going to open it up with the steam side lifted on the back so he doesn't get burned. And now he's going to put the jars over on the cooling table.
See how dark it is.
Isn't that pretty?
Ooh-wee.
Now you'll notice it folded up on the bottom. That's normal. Don't worry about that. And that's some pretty spinach.
If your jars are white on the outside, here in Florida there's a lot of lime in the water, so that's normal. After they cool down and dry, they're really going to show. So you have to wash them off good before you label them.
Another thing is that you want to make sure when your jars are put on the cooling table that they're at least an inch apart. Never hit these hot jars together, they'll break easy. And also, like Peepaw said, to cool, they need to cool anywhere from 8 to 12 hours. So you know you're safe. What we do is usually we're done late in the afternoon, so we just let it sit there until the next day. They've already started popping.
There's a place out of a draft, or if there's an air conditioning vent close by,
and you don't have it out of a draft, then you can take a towel or something and put it over, and that lets it cool slow and natural. Okay, I hope you try this. It's a lot of work, but in the long run, it is worth it. This is Nanny.
And this is Peepaw.
Bye now.
Bye-bye.